We dashed across the fields and between the houses, and the horses were almost there. The horn of announcement sounded again as we reached the house. As Thomas threw open the door, the people of the village were waking to the sounds of the Federation, peering out of their windows, and as I rushed inside, I turned for a moment and saw the horses with my own eyes, saw the soldiers, but had they seen me? Thomas wouldn't wait. "Hurry!" he said. He led me through the house to a ladder in the floor. "Here!" he said. "Down here!" I hastened down the ladder, nearly fell, and landed on a dirt floor. Then he closed the opening behind me, and all was dark. For several moments I stood perfectly still, breathing hard and listening for any dangers from above. Finally I held out my hand, and with brief concentration I created a glowing speck of light at my fingertips. I willowed the light about the room, and used it to reveal my surroundings. I was in a small cellar with earthen floor and walls. It seemed safe enough until... No! I climbed the ladder to the ceiling, and, to my horror, discovered that it was locked from above. Frantically I searched for another exit, but found nothing. I cursed myself. Thomas had betrayed me. Somehow he had contacted the Federation, and then he tricked me into this cellar to ensure I wouldn't run. And Henry? Had he been part of this? Was he bait for this devious scheme? Oh, how could I have been so foolish? I was trapped. I heard the dull, heavy sounds of soldiers' footsteps above me, and spun to face the cellar's entrance. I clenched my fists and focused my senses. I would not be caught off guard. I breathed slowly, and waited. And yet, nothing happened. A few moments later, the footsteps of soldiers moved away from me, back towards the front door. Why would they do that? Were they calling reinforcements? I waited for several minutes. Nothing. Finally I heard the latch turn above me. The trap opened, and Thomas descended with a lantern. No soldiers, no sorcerers, just Thomas. "What are you doing?" I asked. "Come to negotiate my surrender, is that it? Well, they won't have it." He looked at me, hung the lantern on a hook in the ceiling, and responded, "Of course not." "Well, why aren't they down here?" I demanded. "Is this some kind of trick?" I contemplated knocking him aside, scaling the ladder, and escaping into the woods, but I knew that there were too many soldiers about, so for now I was still trapped. Thomas responded, "There is no trickery involved. The soldiers told me that there had been rumors of a dangerous person lurking in the forest, and that the battalion had come to protect the village. They asked if I had seen anyone suspicious." What was he getting at? He continued. I told them I had seen nothing of the sort. Incredulous, I responded, "You mean to tell me that after seeing a man with gray skin, a man hunted by the Federation, that you decided to harbor such a man?" He nodded. "Why?" I asked. "Because of your kindness." He held out a plate of food and a mug with water. "I brought you something." For a moment I simply stared at the offering. Then Thomas drank some of the water, ate part of the food, and handed it to me again. "Just so you know it's not poisoned," he explained. They left me alone the rest of that night. Eventually I slept, but I didn't sleep well, fearful as I was that the soldiers might attack. The next morning Thomas came to see me again, but I looked the other way. When he left I glanced behind me and saw another plate of food, wordlessly offered for no apparent reason. Food for a derelict. I remained underground, in my tiny earthen refuge, undisturbed for the rest of the day. In the darkness of the earth my mind remained restless. "They're helping me," I thought. Me, a derelict. Why would they do that? I wept, just a little, for some reason I could scarcely fathom. Why would they do that? And I couldn't understand it, no matter how I tried. And deep in that darkness of the earth, all other things were forsaken. Light and sound and air and sky, all of this was gone to me. There remained only I and my thoughts and the tumultuous emotions of a man already dead. And one word haunted me like the echoes of a distant sound, so mired in the wind that it comes from all directions, rising and falling and changing and leaving and coming and haunting again, but never vanishing. Yes, like the air itself, a single word remained. Why? That night, Thomas came down the ladder once again. He told me that the soldiers, having found nothing to support the rumors of a dangerous man in the forest, had decided to leave the village. I was free to go. At midnight I ascended the ladder and opened the outer door and faced the dark world before me. Thomas and Henry stood watching. "Of course, you are welcome to stay with us," said Thomas. "I can't," I replied. "I must go, for your sake as much as mine." "Sorry to hear that," he said. Henry watched in silent sadness. I paused. You never even asked what I did to deserve this life. Wandering in fear of the law?" "I doubt you deserve it," he replied. "But I am a criminal, and I hate the Federation. I hate the very thing that keeps us all safe." "Doesn't matter," he said simply. "You are welcome in my house." I didn't respond. I only stepped forward onto the cool grass, listened to the sounds of omniscient nature, and felt the air about me, which, somehow, wasn't quite as cold as it had been once before. I stopped, unable to turn back but unwilling to go forward. "Thank you," I whispered, and vanished in the night.